I still live with the fact that in order to explain why Arnold Schwarzenegger was so goddamn swole, they made him an Olympic swimmer. Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Batman the Animated Series, Pretty Poison debuted September 14th, 1992, and The Underdwellers, October 21st, 1992. We get our Poison Ivy debut with Pretty Poison.
Can, really quick, Pamela Isley's profile says that she is 5'2", 105 pounds. This is a tiny, small woman. I don't think they knew what they were doing.
She's made of plant, that's why.
She is
Very
made
hollow.
Not yet. She's still like
Oh,
she's not green yet.
She hasn't undergone the New Adventures transformation.
She's not in the green yet.
Yeah. Um, I always liked Harvey Dent face planning. Like I always loved that shot.
I especially
Sure.
loved the moment after where Bruce is like, come on, Harvey. Harvey, come on. Stop being an idiot, man. Oh, he's dead. Oh.
Bruce is actually like, hey, oh, you're so funny. Wait a minute. So this implies that Harvey does this shit regularly enough that he had doubts.
Yeah, that wasn't like Bruce action. That was like Bruce action. Like, oh God, Harvey, you've done it again. Do
Harvey.
you think he brings it up to him when he's Two-Face? Like, just now and again goes into Arkham's like, hey, Two-Face, remember that time you fell in your pudding?
How did he know?
Yeah. I do like that it really does. Like face planning aside, I do like that, I mentioned this the first week. I do like that we establish Harvey as somebody that's in Gotham, that has a friendship with Bruce. Just to provide a little context on the plot, when we first meet Pam Isley, she's dating. She's just a random woman dating Harvey.
She's engaged to Harvey.
Engaged to Harvey,
They met
right?
a week before the episode.
Yes. And yeah, Harvey, don't you think you're going a bit too fast? Yeah, yeah, it's a whole thing there.
What I especially love with this is that we're doing sort of the kind of very weird eco-terrorist bit where she's more for protecting plants than really doing eco-terrorism because she wants to kill Harvey Dent because he built a prison where this rose used to be, this poisonous rose that she now has the last one of. But what I love is this isn't the era where we've introduced the pheromones yet, because it always makes me laugh in modern Batman when, because there was a comic I read recently where it had the same thing, where it was basically the same plot, and Bruce is like, how would anyone fall in love with her without her pheromones? I'm like, Bruce, I know you're not like the most like active man in this area, but just look at her.
She's
Look at her.
gorgeous. I do
She
want to
doesn't
point
need
out.
drugs.
Look, I don't know if you, man, are we deep enough in for me to say this? I don't know if you've ever read the Batman's dick doesn't work thread, but it's actually kind of compelling. But what I like is the sarcastic like crawl that happens when they start 5 years earlier and then they go forward in time, where it's like a better, safer Gotham 5 years later, and you hear sirens in the distance and everything. Like that was the writers really were like taking the piss with that, and I really appreciated that little moment.
I really love how that whole flashback sequence is in sepia as well. Like, and they frame it like an old movie. It's so nicely done. This whole episode is really nice. There's a lot of really nice moments. One of my favorite little bits of this whole episode is when, so while because Bruce is meant to be third wheeling their date, is what we're
For some
told,
reason.
but he's busy beating up a guy in a helicopter because that's what Batman does in his evenings.
Mhm.
But Bruce speeds back to the Batcave to change, and on the way he has a talk with Alfred. He's like, "Hey, this place I'm going, what's the food like?" "Well, I like it, sir." And then Alfred's giving him dinner recommendations. It is such a lovely little moment that establishes that, yeah, Bruce lives outside of the camera, and just, yeah, Alfred is a big part of Bruce's life, and they have these. It's not all work. They have these little conversations, and how Bruce reacts to like Salmond Almondine. It's like, oh, this is clearly a conversation or something they've talked about previously we haven't seen. It really makes Bruce feel so three dimensional.
it's nice too because it feels like Alfred is the only character that he ever gets to be 100% who this amalgam of Batman and Bruce Wayne. And it's nice. It's a nice little reprieve. And Alfred's just great in both of these episodes. I really enjoy Alfred's time here. I also do want to go back to talking about Harvey Dent because what I like about this is that we not only establish him in Gotham, we take a chunk of episodes to establish him as Bruce's friend and someone he really cares about, and that makes the fall to being Two-Face so much more devastating. And I like that. I also like that he's kind of an idiot. Like I like it when characters like that are kind of morons.
And sort of revisit the whole point. This is a big reason we're doing production order, because if we did this airing order, we'd have already seen Two-Face's origin.
Yeah.
Which is just wild, right?
Yeah.
It broadcast order's stupid for this because it ruins all of this lovely foreshadowing and all of this lovely setup. I think we'd have already seen Ivy's first. We'd have already seen Ivy before as well, which is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this really does work as an origin story for her within the relatively more grounded world of the animated series. That goes out the window as soon as Clayface shows up, but yeah.
I also got to throw this out here really quick. A lot of modern poison ivies make her vegan, which I think makes no damn sense. Here she eats escargot, which is specifically an animal product. Poison ivy should be eating people. Like in reality, why would she be vegan? She doesn't want to hurt plants. She should be eating like almost exclusively meat by this
She should be a cannibal, yeah.
She should be a cannibal.
Yeah, she's like doing the Atkins diet the entire time.
Either that or they go for a whole thing of like she loves all plants except lettuce, which she specifically hates, so she just punishes lettuces by eating them.
It's just crunchy water.
Yeah.
Lettuce insulted my mother once.
Yeah, or no, it would probably be bananas, right? Because it was so heavily cultivated by man.
Oh, true.
It's no longer like
he likes the radiation.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always been something that I've found very confusing as a writing choice, making poison ivy vegan. So I like that she's eating an animal product here because it's like, take that, snails, for eating the plants.
Yeah.
I also like it because it's like the most French dish possible, and then later on we see them interrogating the people in the cafe, and the chef is the most French man to ever exist.
Yeah. It has chocolat and sugar. I put a little vanilla. Harvey Bullock is great in this episode, by the way. Can we give some props to Harvey's physical comedy throughout this episode with the donuts every time?
Harvey's, the way the show uses Bullock, at least initially, he can kind of come off as a little annoying. Like just this one note, like, hey, I don't trust you, Batman. I think, this guy is it's clearly a Joker scheme, but it was probably the Batman.
Probably the Batman.
But yeah, no, I think we're starting. There's still some rough episodes with Harvey, but Bullock, like we have two Harveys in this one. But he's starting to get to the Bullock that we know and love by the end of the series.
This is also our first Renee Montoya in the background before she gets named.
Yeah, we're starting to finally build out we've been building it out for a while, but the supporting cast is starting to take shape. We still are missing our biggest contribution to the mythos, of course, which we'll get to, I think, in a week or two. Not next week, but it's coming. Maybe.
Yeah. The nice thing about Bullock, and it works nice this episode, is this episode is structured like a classic whodunit. This is an Agatha Christie mystery. This is a classic locked room scenario, and because of that, we spend a lot more with the police, which is great because it does let us do these more grounded mystery episodes. And it plays off this really nice, and it gives Bruce a lot of room to be doing some detective stuff, which is great because Bruce detective stuff is not only fun, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love when we let Batman do the world's greatest detective thing. I feel like a lot of Batman media kind of forgets that part of his character in order to make him like super paranoid, always prepared guy. But I like when we get to do this, when he's like looking for the cure, and Alfred being a part of that process. Another great thing with Alfred, I think, like, oh no, this kind of rose has been extinct, Master Bruce. And it's like, oh shit, it's extinct.
I love when Bruce goes to talk to the doctor and steals his slide of Harvey's blood to test. It's like, because it is the classic Poirot thing of like, I'm going to talk around you and be like, oh yeah, this, then slowly slip it away when you're not looking. It's classic setup. Talking of that rose, I have to bring up the wild thorny rose. They say its Latin name is Rosaceae vulsus, which is Latin for normal rose.
Yeah, nice.
I love
normal Rose.
And talking of plants, Ivy gets her big Venus flytrap here that has a bit of the George O'Keeffe's about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's so hard to separate plant and flower imagery from, and I mean that's a whole point of Poison Ivy too, is like the quote unquote feminine mystique that comes with plant life, the whole Mother Nature thing, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate that we get away with yonic imagery in Batman so often. It's great. It's so good.
Well, according to Bruce Timm, it was accidental.
How?
Well, he's like, it wasn't intentional, but the Venus flytrap creature looks like a vagina with teeth. Originally, it looked like Audrey too, and I said, no, let's not do that. What other kind of plant could we do? What if it's like a big snow pea pod? I started sketching it out and stopped when I realised what it looked like, but it worked. In a way, it's a good visual metaphor for what she is, a man killer.
Man eater.
I wish we had a camera in the office for that moment where Bruce Timm is like, gosh, this looks like a vagina.
Well, I like it, so I'm just gonna have to roll with it for right now.
This make you feel funny? Anybody else?
Anybody else mildly aroused by this picture? No, just me. Okay.
And talking of Poison Ivy and mildly arousing, my Cine Fantastique magazine have a lovely episode guide for every episode of Batman the Animated Series. And they have a lovely quote from the producers. It's like, Sunrise had issues animating Poison Ivy's rear as she as seductively as the producers wanted it when she was leaving the Rose Cafe. So the task was assigned to storyboard artist Chi Yen Chang, who animated the sequence at Warner Brothers and then shipped the cells overseas for Sunrise to film. I want recordings of that meeting where Sunrise, remember the Gundam people, were told, your robots are great. This woman's ass, not good enough. We're sending Americans over to solve this problem.
Yeah. I like to think that that's where Sunrise got the idea to create Faye Valentine.
That would be funny.
Someone just ran into the Bebop office. Back to the Future with the Chuck Berry.
Yeah. Listen to this.
Look at that ass. I did notice that particular scene had a lot more frames per second than other just random walking scenes get. I like the focus on Poison Ivy as a seductress, and obviously there are parts of this that are very based on the Uma Thurman version of her. But I like.
Yeah, which will come later, right?
Which will come later, or like Uma Thurman will be based more on her. Like I really like this version. I think she looks great. I think she sounds fantastic. She's seductive and fun, and this is the first time we get to see Batman kissing someone, I think. So we get a little sugar for Batman.
Yeah.
And it's also Batman being kind of underhanded in how he wins.
Oh yeah, Batman holds a hostage here. It's a plant, but it's a hostage. Always one of my favorite little bits of animation. When after the hospital, she tries to kiss Bruce, and he just tilts his head so she goes to his shoulder, which is, again, it's the hint that he has already worked out kind of what's going on. So that, well, I'm not gonna. But I love the fact it's really subtly animated, and they never directly say it. It's like because a lower cartoon would have been like, aha, I moved her away because there's probably poison on her lips. But here it's like, we have faith in the kids to be paying attention and recognize what just happened. It's lovely, really nicely done.
I've been so Schumacher pilled at this point that when I forgot how parts of the episode beats go, so that after she kissed him as Batman, I really expected him to be like rubber lips. Like, I don't know why, but my brain was expecting the Schumacher moment, and I think I've just been destroyed.
Yeah, it's fascinating because if you really think about it, as much as we shit on Batman and Robin, that really is the first movie that's influenced by the animated series, both with its portrayal of Mr. Freeze and his tragic origin and or tragic motivation and toxic kissing Poison Ivy.
Quick sidebar about the Schumacher movie. I still live with the fact that in order to explain why Arnold Schwarzenegger was so goddamn swole, they made him an Olympic swimmer. I still live with that knowledge, being like, you have never seen what a swimmer looks like ever. You could have picked any other sport, literally anyone.
Well,
Anyway, sorry.
He has to part the water. That's how he
He was
swims.
supposed to be Patrick Stewart before Schumacher was like, no, he needs to look like he was carved from a piece of ice.
God, I wish it had been Patrick Stewart.
Oh, that would have
Pa-
been so
Patrick
good.
Stewart, Uma Thurman, just oh.
Could you have imagined like new Next Generation, Star Trek Next Generation, Patrick Stewart having to say what killed the dinosaurs, the Ice Age? I need us all to picture that.
He would deliver it like Hamlet, and it would be the best line ever written. We'd all
It
be
would've-
praising it.
He would have been fresh off First Contact at the time, so he would have been as jacked as Patrick Stewart gets.
Yeah. That is a Jack version. You're right. It would have been just after First
I
Contact.
love it. Can we get a poster where we like have a scale of jackedness of Patrick?
Just like how swole Patrick Stewart is, depending on the franchise he's in.
You go to the doctor. How do you feel today? Well, I feel like a good 6 on the Stewart scale, Doc.
Yeah. I feel like an insurrection right now, Doc.
A
There are
whole
pills for
insurrection.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have pills for Star Trek Insurrection. Anyway,
Just what I would bring up. Always remember that in Batman Forever, Poison Ivy dresses up as a green gorilla for some inexplicable reason.
And Robin, yeah.
She was sexy and she used it to seduce
He
someone.
was a sexy gorilla.
Yeah. So many confused children watching that.
Believe me,
Maybe I was one of them.
Weren't we all?
For several years I did believe that scene was something I had hallucinated as a child. Until I rewatched the film like many years later in a hotel room and said, oh no, this scene is real. Oh, someone had problems.
Man, we shit on Joel Schumacher, but like I do love the Schumacher movies. Anyway, going back to this, I do like Poison Ivy's little lair. I like that she was already prepared with a trap door. Like that's very fun. She had an evil hideout ready to go.
I'm not sure if it was like, was that like a trap door or was it just the cactus storage closet?
Tomato, really.
Seems kind of cruel. Cacti need direct sunlight.
Oh, well, maybe they would have been naughty. She was angry.
Oh, they were bad cactus.
Yeah, naughty cactus go in the hole. I also love the 40s thing because like we have this whole thing with her traps and all this, but she has a massive tube radio that takes up half a wall.
Oh yeah,
and takes time to warm up as well. Like the 40s.
I love her tube radio. I love her like folding screen to get changed behind a la the Adam West Batman. There's something I like her blue suit outfit. That's really cute. Like it's just good design. It's just good design.
It's nice to see her not always in green as well, because that always annoys me and stuff.
Yeah, no, I like this version of Pamela Isley. I like the idea that she doesn't necessarily have the bleached skin and the like pronounced lips and hair. She doesn't look like Polaris from X Factor, basically.
He's not a meta-human yet.
Yeah. I mean, well, or maybe I always thought she had like a telepathic like thing going on with the plants.
I thought that came from the accident.
I mean, do we see accident in the show?
I don't know if we see.
I don't think
accident.
we do. They
just
because she's clearly controlling the fly trap here, so there's clearly something going on. But maybe the fly trap is just a good listener.
Yeah, talk to your plants, people.
Could be like the crocodiles in the next episode.
Yeah. Oh, do we want to get into?
Yeah, is Underdwellers the worst Batman the Animated Series episode? Because this one was a bit of jank.
There's one that's coming up where white hair Bruce becomes part of a chain gang.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that one.
That is the worst one.
That one is pretty rough. This one is down there. I think last week I was talking about there's a handful of episodes in this first season. The Underdwellers, I've got Batman in my basement, back on the chain gang. This one's it's weird. I never expected Batman to take on a Dickensian villain.
I have a theory about this episode. I actually have a theory about this. I could be off with my years, but I have a theory. Because obviously there's a Dickensian element here, but have either of you ever read Alan Moore's Lost Girls?
Yes.
So there's something that vaguely reminds me of like his Captain Hook XP character in that a little bit with this guy. I'm not 100% sure why. Something about it reads as like a safe for television Lost Girls.
So you'll be happy to know that a lot of people point out the Captain Hook thing. He's
Yeah.
very Captain Hooky. Um, this episode was a production mess, so I can give you that. Um, Where shall we start with this? Let's go with Frank Parr, the director, who gives one of the most honest interviews I've ever read. It was my first episode as director, and there are still things in that I cringe at. Usually, when we get an episode, we get to use a lot of discretion and change things. I wish I'd been able to spend more time on that script. Another problem at the time was that we had storyboard people who made things difficult. I found myself going back 2 or 3 times to fix scenes. They didn't quite understand we were shooting for a higher standard, so there was always a constant drain on my time. That whole opening sequence of the kids playing chicken with the train should have been cut. That was where we had that was what we had to contend with at the beginning of the season. We had these little public service announcements worked into the script, a concept we nixed real quick. He is amazingly honest. It's like, I hate this episode with all my heart, with all my heart.
I
It's
mean,
not
I
great.
appreciate the honesty. I love
Yeah.
the honesty there. Like that is you're right. That might be the most honest interview I think I've ever heard.
And then, yeah, Bruce Timm even goes further. But he says it's Juno, so Studio Juno, one of the animation teams. Weakest episodes. We almost didn't use them after that. It was the first one that came back that really looked totally unlike our show. It was very Japanese, but I'm glad we did use them again. They've done great work because they would have gone to do Baby Doll and stuff like that. But yeah, basically Bruce Timm's like, yeah, we got this back and we considered firing them on the spot.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then,
Jeez.
yeah, again with Tim, standards and practices took a lot out of this show. Originally, the kids were to be victimized by the Sewer King, but he was not allowed to be mean or torturous to any of them. The impact is watered down. If we were doing it today, we probably would have decided not to do the show. So even
Cool.
Bruce Timm is like, yeah, this episode can just go.
Co-written by Tom Ruger,
Yeah, I saw that.
who of course is the creator of Freakazoid.
That I love Freakazoid. This is just it is a weird one. And it also does have one of the weirder Batman one-liners in it is when he's going away from the alligator. They're clearly alligators now because he just goes, "See you later." And it's such a Leon Kennedy moment that I just was kind of taken off guard because I forgot about that.
There's a lot of weird Batman things in here because Bruce is convinced that he saw a leprechaun. Because we see the woman gets her purse robbed by a kid in Lincoln Greeno, which is more Robin Hood than leprechaun.
Yeah.
And then so she says, "Oh, I was robbed by a leprechaun." And then Bruce goes back to Alfred and says, "I saw a leprechaun." It's like, why do you think that, Bruce? Aren't you the guy who'd be like, "Oh, that's clear, it's a guy in a hood"? Like, why would you think it's a leprechaun?
To be fair to Bruce here, a lot of weird shit happens in Gotham. Like, I'm just gonna throw he got into a fight with a toxic clown man. Like twice on live television. Like, I just want to throw it out here. Maybe Leprechaun, not the weirdest thing that with the existence in this universe of Mr. Mitzel-Plitlick and Batmite, because like these things exist in the DC universe. A leprechaun is kind of low on that standard.
It's just weird that Alfred also just immediately accepts this, and then there isn't any like, well, I'm sure, Mr. Bruce, we can find a way of dealing with it. Like, they just kind of, because then Alfred's like, oh, take a vacation. And Bruce is like, yeah, maybe I will. And then he's like, oh, everything's boring. You know what's the job for? Batman. It's like, you were already Batman, Bruce. You've come into Alfred, said, I'm going to put Batman on and go do Batman things, but you're already doing Batman things while you came here.
The
Listen,
dialogue as a
cookies is hell of
whole
a drug.
in this episode is kind of off. Like the dialogue in this episode kind of feels like it's written for a Dickensian audience in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like Alfred with Frog, which is the name of the kid. I like those little. I don't know why I kind of enjoyed that, but it also does. I always like when kid stuff is weird and messy, and I thought Alfred was very fun and enjoyable in those moments.
This feels like a two-parter. Like Bruce finding Frog and then winning him over should have been like the big thing, and then Frog decides, because all that happens here is basically Alfred lets his kid steal the cutlery, and then Bruce's like, hey, come here, I want you to come and kill your old boss for me. And Frog's like, yeah, I'm not busy.
The antique guns also threw me off. Like, why you're the anti-gun guy, Batman? I would assume that you wouldn't keep these in the house anymore.
To be fair, we do confirm in our episodes of the animated series that Bruce is a skeet shooter and good at skeet shooting.
That's fair, but that was an elephant rifle.
Yeah, but it's still a big, like, I can see having loads of antiques kind of makes sense for Bruce.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is they do, because it's obviously a PSA, because Frog grabs the gun and Bruce actually like, oh, it's not loaded, but you should have treated it as it was. Which, yeah, is for the kids at home. But also, why would you keep a loaded elephant rifle on the wall? Not in a case.
There was something that was pointed out to me that I think is really interesting in how certain things are for American audiences and certain ones aren't. The apparent so in the BBC, this is, I swear to God, this is relevant. In the BBC Sherlock show, there's a scene where Watson opens up a drawer and there's a gun in it, and because it's a British show, you're supposed to see that and be like, oh no, something is wrong. This is pointing to his suicidal ideation, all that. But American audiences are so desensitized to guns and just having them in the house that we don't see it as weird or as a sign of something else going on with that character. So those kinds of gun PSAs don't immediately jump out at me as being PSAs immediately. So I think it's kind of interesting on a cultural perspective how the presence of a gun changes how the scene is interpreted.
I can back that up because I showed a friend a Miss Marple mystery very recently. And the entire of the final act is literally Miss Marple going, well, there's a gun in your drawer. That's her big reveal. And the person who's like, well, of course I'll do it again. And I was watching it with a friend who is American. They're like, but that's not evidence. I'm like, yeah, it is, because they've got the gun. But how do you know? Because to get a gun in like 50s Britain, you had to go and black market it. You couldn't just go to Walmart. Like, there's a level of premeditation to have that gun. So yeah, it is just, this whole episode is full of weirdness. Like, I love how we have the trains that apparently go through Gotham's sewers and just open out. That's not how undergrounds work. Also, that's not how these trains wouldn't go underground either.
I mean, they kind of look like, so they like, maybe this is a difference in like the way the New York City subway looks, because it didn't, like, there are in certain parts of the New York City subway, it's not the sewer necessarily, but there are like tunnels and smaller like hatchways that lead into sanitation areas where a lot of stuff is stored. And in New York City subways, there tends to be a lot more like room in the tunnels because there are a lot more trains going through. So that didn't jump, as a New Yorker who takes the subway every day, like that looked like a regular New York City. I don't know what the tube or underground trains look like in a lot of other places, but that looked like New York to me.
I still don't think you go from the sewer with flowing water, open door train.
I mean, it's not as
1970s subway, maybe.
Yeah, it's not as cavernous, sure, but I mean, one of my favorite things about the New York City subway is that you can see the literal Ninja Turtles lair
Yes.
if you pass City Hall.
Yeah, you can. It's actually really cool. And if you take the 6 train all the way to the end and go through the loop, you can actually see the old chandeliers and the old subway stations that exist there. And people live in those subway stations. Like, they're deep in there. They're the real mole people. So, like, when I see kids living underground, I'm like, yeah, sure, that can happen.
Sorry, when you say the Turtles' lair, do you mean like they've made a bit of the station to look like, or is it the filming location?
It's what it's based on. It's what that area is based on.
That makes
the old City Hall station it's no longer an active station anymore, but you can see it. And they may have filmed some pickup shots or something, or establishing shots in it for the first 2 Ninja Turtles movies, the ones that were actually had a budget.
Damn.
Yeah. Though the most of the movies are filmed in North Carolina, like The Crow.
New York is expensive. It's expensive to film here.
It is. It's pretty expensive. But yeah, but if you pass through and you look out the train window at if you're on the right side, you can see the City Hall station.
That makes more sense than what I was thinking.
New York City subways are like, they're shockingly the size of the tunnels and all the maintenance ways, and like even the ways that you can go through them to get into the subway, into the sewer system. Like, they're huge. It's a labyrinth built under this city. It's kind of crazy.
Well, another thing I want to bring up before we get to the end very quickly, because this annoyed me. This episode also has 0 continuity.
Sure.
Like, very early on, the guy tries to punish a kid called Jack for making a noise. Except the kid he punishes clearly isn't Jack. It's a totally different kid. It's like, okay, then like we see he has a bell he'll rings, and then originally that's on a pipe. Then Bruce comes and pulls it down, and it's on a piece of wood. It's like for a show that is so dedicated to all these, to see an episode that is just so flippant with Colin is so it's amazing. It's like, what the hell? This is lesser cartoon stuff. And but good news, Sewer King does appear in the comics exactly once. He appears in issue 25 of 52. He's killed by Bruno Mannheim in one panel. A fitting punishment.
For his kind.
But
rest in piss.
Rest in piss. I like. Man, there's a lot to love about 52, and that is definitely one of the things to love about 52.
It's gone up in my approximation now.
All the Booster Gold stuff in 52 is fantastic.
I feel like something like that must have been either a Mark Waid or a Jeff Johns edition.
That feels like a Mark Waid or Jeff Johns edition. Like, it definitely wasn't Grant Morrison, because they were doing their best to keep Grant Morrison from going completely off the rails during that project.
Yeah. Please don't leave us, Grant. Please don't leave us.
Grant, we're gonna let you make Skeets evil, okay? We're gonna let you do that. Can you just pull it back, buddy? Just don't go full Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and Serious Earth on us, man. We just need you to be focused.
Back into the closet.
Back in the closet, Grant. But yeah, final thoughts other than about Grant Morrison being a crazy person.
Grant Morrison's. I've interviewed Grant. They're lovely, but
I like them. I like them a lot.
I mean, Poison Ivy's great. Pretty and Poison's great. Underdwellers can, burn in hell. I think design-wise, some of the stuff is cool, but yeah, like Tim was saying, it does feel like it's from a completely different show.
Yeah, same thing. Pretty Poison's great. I love this early Ivy where she is a good old-fashioned dangerous dame who is also very good with poisons, rather than sort of now where I am Swamp Thing with a good body kind of thing. Pretty Poison is a classic noir caper episode. You could watch it on its own. It's just as enjoyable. And Underdwellers, you could see what they were going for, but it's just a mess, and it's such a. I think Underdwellers would be a bad episode in another cartoon, but in Batman the Animated Series, which is so far on its first outing given us like the perfect pilot, Joker's debut great, Ivy's debut great, to have this just really sticks out and becomes even more painful because everyone on this production is better than this. And I think it really speaks volumes that Bruce Timm and Frank Parr, even in like official magazine interviews that are promoting new Batman stuff, were able to be like, no, this is shit, and we regret every moment of it. And everyone involved apparently was fine with that being published. Is like, this is an actual magazine. DC have clearly signed off on it at some point, and even they were like, yeah, we're not gonna tell you off for that. This was crap, and we should own up to it. Speaks volumes.
It's bad, and you should feel bad.
Yeah, I love the corporate whitewashing of PR. Give me more of that.
But yeah, my final thoughts are basically the same. Pretty Poison is fantastic. It's a great. I love a good femme fatale. I do love Poison Ivy. I think she's a fantastic character. I think that they capture her really well here. I like Harvey. I like all that stuff. Underdwellers does feel like it was meant to be an episode of the 1980s Ninja Turtles cartoon. In a lot of ways, it feels like it would have fit better in the 1980s Ninja Turtles cartoon because of the setting, because of everything that's going on, the alligators, which I thought were crocodiles. But very quick Transformers fun fact. The French dub of Transformers thought that Starscream was a woman and named him Pretty Poison, actually. So that is a fun fact that ties into our Batman stuff. But yeah, it's still Batman. It's still really, really good. But Underdwellers, you can skip it. You're not going to miss anything by skipping Underdwellers, but don't skip Pretty Poison. But that does mean we have pulled into our final station. That's right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again in joining us and talking about the shows that made us, and the shows that made you, you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time. Bang.